Hello everyone, and welcome to Jumperman Tech, where we specialize in HVAC but do everything DIY. And today we have a follow-up service call for a split system refrigerator. Hello everyone, and welcome to Jumperman Tech, where we specialize in HVAC but do everything DIY. And today we have a follow-up service call for a split system refrigerator. If we look at our gauges, I could actually tell we are where we are. We are at 80 pounds PSI, and that is pretty low. In my previous video, what happened here in my previous visit, I did make a video on it, that this compressor actually was tripping the breaker. As you can see, I left everything disconnected. That's the current relay. This compressor does look terrible, and now I see why it failed. It's because there's a leak somewhere here. It's low on the refrigerant. And what happened is this thing shut down and failed, and basically we have a terminal that is grounded here. So if you check resistance from one terminal to ground, you're gonna get resistance and you're gonna get continuity. So that compressor is grounded. That's why I was tripping the breaker. In today's video, we're gonna be replacing this compressor with the controls and even this digital defrost control. This one has to be next, but we haven't got approval for that yet, and probably this is the next one to go. This thing needs an update here. So let's start with recovering the refrigerant. All right, we're now recovering. Got the scale just so we have reference, but I can see this is low. But we do have a sight glass. I will be replacing the filter dryer and sight glass, so I'll take into account what we take out of here, and we're probably gonna need to add a little bit more, and hopefully we can clear this sight glass. And I wanna use this as my reference charge. I also have temperature probes, so we can charge this using subcooling and superheat. But pretty much just gotta clear that sight glass. That's the easy way to do it. Once it's clear, you know you're good on charge, because you know all the refrigerant on the high side condensed. But let's recover this and do what we do. All right, so in this case, this is the suction line. Must be a processing tool that they got rid of. It just capped it off, and I can see this goes to the condenser. So this must be our discharge line back here. Suction line, processing tube. The other one's set up a little differently, and there's no more flare nuts. So let's take off these pipes. Also, this extension cord is kind of disgusting. Let's take off the power for this, basically here and here. And then there's like little clips that hold this compressor in place. Two of these are missing, but we got two in the back. We'll just pull it out. And I think they're called like Carter pins. You just pull it out, and that's good, and this will come right out. So let's get started. We also have, could also tell by the low pressure control, well, the dual pressure control, the high side. Where does that go? Goes here. So this is your high side, and this is your low side coming out here. The larger diameter is the low side, small diameter is always your high side. So let's start disconnecting a couple things. Let's get this out. Recovery's done. Let's take this little wire ring off. Just loosened up this nut here, so now these wires are free. Let's try to see where this goes. Basically, whatever the power wires is, it has to go, the main power wire which energizes this has to go in this control and out of it, and then it'll power it. So let's see right here. Yeah, this is our common for our compressor. Pull that out, and you have this. So all right, we'll figure this out. There should be a diagram on the new unit as well, new compressor. Let's take that out. Is a ring? Yeah, it's a ring. We'll take that out, and we'll see what's going on. Let's pull this out. Power's off. We're good to go. All right. So pressure control is now disconnected. Now that's fine. Let's go ahead and disconnect these wires from here. I'm also going to change this as it looks burnt out in there. also have these little Carter pins, and all you gotta do is pull it out. Pretty sure this is a Carter pin. If not, you guys can correct me in the comments. But pretty much you pull that pin out and this compressor is gonna come out. Now this whole thing can lift, right, as you can see. All right, that's all free. Let's cut these lines. You can also take out actually this low side port, this little flare nut. Now let's cut the pipes and get this thing out. But as you can see, we're all disconnected now, and honestly, I'm gonna do a little bit of a cleaning here. I don't have all-purpose cleaner, but I got Windex, and you know, that cleans everything. I'm gonna cut the pipe, but you know what? I'm gonna sand it down first, so we don't get anything in the pipe. Also, quick note, this system does use a solenoid valve, so you could either use a magnet, but honestly that box is full of drinks and there's a lot of people there right now. It's calling for cooling, so that solenoid is open, and like that, that's totally fine. So let's just sand this down and cut it out. We're good to go, and we're gonna braze with nitrogen. You know what, gonna go back a little bit with this so I have space. It's not a big deal because I got like slack here. It's ran really messy. The only thing is there's no more of these flare nuts, which is good, because with all these rust spots, could have easily, that itself could have been leaking, and we have low refrigerant. Anyways, on the new compressor, even though it's the same exact compressor, same model number and everything, this one's really old. The location of the compressor and discharge has changed. So right now, this is our suction line. In the other system, you're gonna see it's actually our discharge line. So this is now cut. Keep this maybe with the, yes, protect it a little bit. Maybe right there is good. And I'm gonna cut out also the discharge line, and we're just gonna have to figure out how we're gonna make this fit. Alright guys, everything is nice and cut, and this is out. Also, these little legs, I'm gonna take those because we need to reuse that. The new compressor doesn't come with that. Alright, that's that. And we could also clean this area. This is actually goes with the compressor as well. And wow, yeah, it's really, it's just not the best job, to be nice, right? So anyways, let's clean up these legs, make sure everything is nice and clean, and clean up this area, and it's gonna be a huge difference. And you gotta take pride in your work, guys. You gotta take pride in your work, no matter what it is you do. How you do one thing is how you do everything. So let's clean all this up, and we'll continue. That right there almost looks brand new. Wow, and look at the difference between this one. How gross is that? You guys can go inside and see the detail, how nasty that is. Everything's cleaned up. I even cleaned up the pressure control. This thing looks brand new. And we're gonna change that control. Now this gross, new compressor, new electrical. It's gonna be great. We are gonna replace the filter dryer and the side glass. I got a new defrost clock here. It's actually the same exact one. It's digital, so the wiring should be easy on that. Also, I got a new compressor here. I got a new filter dryer, and I got a new side glass. All right, let's just put these legs in place. Got one here. These are sometimes tricky, but just gotta kind of spin them in at an angle. And then let's get the next one. Okay. All right, let's put this thing in place. Maybe I can move this a little bit safely. Let's just get that in place. Oh, that's beautiful. What I'm gonna do, since we only have two of those little legs, I'm gonna put one on this corner and one on the opposite corner. And like that, I feel like it's a better balance. So pretty much we're just gonna push this thing through the Carter pin Okay, one on each end, and like that, it's gonna be a lot safer. So this new compressor comes with our new start capacitor, which looks a lot larger. There's a thermal overload in here, which was jumped out in the other one. It was missing. That's so with the low refrigerant, it probably was overheating, but nothing would shut it down. So eventually this compressor just ground it out. So we have a current relay, we have a thermal overload, and we have our start capacitor. Everything's already wired here. We just need to run power. And what I hate with these systems, with these new ones, there's nowhere to like properly, like safely connect the wires. It's just like on the side here, and you just run them in, and it's just unfortunate. Also, if you look closely here, remember we had a pipe here and one in the back. But if you look here, it says compressor discharge. So our discharge and our suction line has switched places. This is probably still our processing tube. This is our compressor discharge, and here must be our suction line. Oh, I think it's low. So we got to connect our suction here, discharge here. I'm gonna do a little bit of pipe work, and I gotta cut this out and get that changed. Every time you open up a system, you definitely want to replace the filter dryer. The side glass looks kind of a little banged up, and you know, since we're doing all this work, let's just make everything nice. Just gonna sand down everywhere that I'm cutting, and let's fit all these pipes. That compressor and discharge is gonna be a bit annoying, but it is what it is. Let's repipe this thing. Let's see what's going on. Let's do the best we can, as always. All right guys, we got this thing piped in. I just did a little something like this, gave it a nice little bend, connected to the discharge, our suction, connected to our suction, put a little pigtail over here so you can repressure instead of just closing off the processing tube. I got the gauges, high side connected to the high side, low side connected to the low side, and I'm gonna braze with running nitrogen through the system. We got a regulator for the nitro, and a special regulator here so we can braze with acetylene with nitro flowing through. So we just gotta see. Also, this is open, and maybe we will charge through the high side. I believe this open actually. So by blowing in nitro through here, through the high side, it should come out through here, and from here, and like that, nitro will be flowing through the system while we braze. Upstairs, power is on, thermostat's calling, so solenoid is open instead of digging inside there. So if we push through here and we got pressure coming out of here and here, and you already know we're good to go. So go off that regulator real quick so we can purge the system. Got everything coming out of both everywhere. Oh man, pipe blew out. We definitely got nitro flow. There's your evidence. As you can see, it says braze here, and this ball is slightly up, and that's how you know the level coming out of there. I got a little bit of pressure coming out here and a little bit of pressure coming out here. Let's go ahead and light this place up. smoke pushing through, and that is a nitro. Last thing you really want to do is your filter dryer, but since I'm blowing this way, I got air moving through here. I think I'm gonna do it like this and just do that piece last. Everything is looking good with this processing too. I think I'm gonna put the piece here for low pressure. Just gonna put a pin in there, Schrader valve, I call it a pin, and we should be okay. I think that will be a good idea, and I'm changing all the Schrader valves while I'm at it. You also gotta check, oh, this doesn't have a depressor. You know what? I'm gonna put a swivel T there so you can always still check, and if you ever want to change this, you'll be able to do so. Yeah, you'll be able to do so, even though it's another connection point, you'll be able to change that without losing the whole charge or taking that off. Next thing you know, there's no Schrader valve. I think this is a better idea. And for all the threads, I'm gonna use Nylock gasket and thread sealant. So anything with a thread, I'm gonna put this and build a gasket on there, and we can then check the system for leaks. We're gonna hold back and just tighten this up. I do want it facing upwards like that, so I got my thumb on it too. So we're just gonna tighten up and do a little something like that. I think that looks okay. All right guys, this looks a lot better. I even try to neaten this up. So I put low pressure here. No pin on the bottom. If you ever want to replace it, just take it out from here. There's a pin, a Schrader valve. I put a new Schrader valve in this piece that was already there. These connections, it is what it is. And it looks pretty good, honestly. I melted off the sticker on the direction, but it does flow this way. So we're gonna match that up the same way that this one goes down that direction. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna pressurize the system with nitrogen, and we're gonna check for leaks. All right, everything's looking nice, way better, especially than this one. Oh man, anyways, we got all that going. We just gotta replace the control, maybe do some little electrical work. But right now I got the system in a vacuum. I will put it in a different type of gauge system where I can hook up digital probes and a vacuum gauge, a micron gauge, and as far as right now, it is what it is. But everything's looking nice and clean. Look at this thing just broke off. This thing is real junk, but the main power comes in through here. We got to figure out how we're gonna wire everything. Pressure control and defrost clock and the power for the compressor. Power's in here. I need to figure this out, but man, what a difference already. Starting to come down with microns. I changed the gauges, and let's go ahead and do what we do. All right guys, got my vacuum gauge here. We're at 961 microns. It's coming down. That's definitely a good sign considering this refrigerant was low. But anyways, I ran some cables right there. Made some wiring here. It is not the same as the other one, and this one it went like this, and there's nowhere to put it, so I kind of just have the wires hanging there, but it looks pretty decent and it's a lot cleaner, and we're making progress. Definitely want to pull down a little bit longer. 500 really would be a perfect micron reading, but it is what it is. They need this running ASAP. I told them that there could be a possible leak, and that will be on a separate day. And as far as wiring, that's also going to be in a separate video. All right, guys, this system is running. That is a beautiful thing. New compressor, new defrost clock is digital, new filter dryer, new sight glass. As you can see, we have a clear sight glass at 31 ounces of refrigerant 134A. All the connections were replaced, so now it's actually going inside. Did that here too. And as far as over here, there's no way to connect like any sort of connector, so it kind of just goes in like that, but you can't really see it until you really get underneath there. Have a swivel T on the processing tube, and that's how it's being tested. Also, if you want to, you can take off this cap here, and it has pressure there. That's going to be low side pressure. That side was already there. Everything looks good, and everything is working nicely. That is a beautiful thing. Also, how clean it is here too, compared to all that. Oh God, really, really nasty. And it is what it is. Even the pressure control got cleaned, but I put my hand in the box is cooling down. We got the right temperature setting at our thermostat, and this was just a beautiful job. I wired this a completely different way because what they were doing just didn't make sense, and it didn't run the wires specifically to here. So I mean, it worked, but it was strange, so I kind of just junked all that and kind of did it my own way. What's crazy is that this compressor doesn't even come with a wiring diagram, and it's a little bit different than this. It is a current relay, but like it's a different type of current relay, and it was just real tricky, so I had to do a little bit of research. But so you got a green light, everything is running. We're just going to run a couple tests as far as this kind of wiring. If you want a video on this, I'll make that separate. Please leave a comment below. But it looks like we're good to go. We're just going to let it run, and yep, clear sight glass, no bubbles. We'll let that be. The pressure was a little bit low to start with, but it is what it is. Compressor failed, and it's definitely time for that thing to go. If we look at the old compressor, this thing is just absolutely horrendous, man. It is horrible. Look at this thing, completely rusted up. Definitely time to go. This is a 1/3 horsepower, 115 volt Tecumseh compressor. Glad we got rid of those flare nuts. Look at how rusted everything is. And our suction and discharge line were actually like in reverse for the new compressor, even though it's the same model number, same horsepower. Anyways, this whole wetness is ridiculous. They gotta fix that. Look how different this is from here, and whatever. Honestly, it is what it is, but our condenser unit is running, and we're gonna wrap this video up here. If anyone found this video interesting or helpful, please drop a like, comment, and subscribe as I come out with new videos every week. And I'll catch you all next time.